Hello from just outside of Holland, Kentucky. I'm Jordan Iwanison.
I'm Mark Holloway.
And I'm Tyler Carr.
We've got Luke Holloway on camera. We're here with a special announcement this evening. Starting this Tuesday evening, election night, the three of us will be starting a radio program. We're going to call it Patriots of Faith. And on the link as we post this, we're going to be able to tell you where to find that link to the radio show. We're going to have coverage throughout the evening on the election returns. And we're going to start a radio show program out of that, and it's going to be weekly, and we'll also announce more details of that on Tuesday night as well. But we're here to make that special announcement. And Mark, what are you thinking of as far as what to expect on Tuesday?
Not really sure. I figured you had quite a bit
Okay.
of knowledge. Do you expect it to be more lean towards the Democrat side, or do you expect to see more Republicans come out on top?
Well, what we're seeing, I've got some data with me from Friday night. And what we're seeing is a small trend, a small way of building for Republicans on Tuesday night. Just going to matter on who shows up to the polls. It's also going to matter as well on where the momentum is, which is with the Republicans right now. There's going to be 10 seats throughout the country in the Senate. And of course, we know the Senate's going to be a big stake. There's Democrats now have a 55-45 majority right now. And it's going to take 6 seats for the Republicans to take the majority. And those 10 seats in Alaska, Arkansas, Colorado, Georgia, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, New Hampshire, and North Carolina are the 10 seats that we're going to be watching to see how this plays out. And we're going to see a lot of, there's mostly Democratic incumbents in conservative territory that are in those states. So we're going to see possibly a good sized Republican pickup if all goes well. In the governor's races, there's also, we're going to be watching in 2010, we're going to be seeing, how the 2010 Tea Party wave, how all those governors came in. We're going to be watching on how they fare. One of the governor's races we are really watching is up there in Wisconsin. Scott Walker battling up against Mary Burke up there as well. They're in a very tight race. And
Are you expecting to come out on top?
it's neck and neck, but I think Walker's probably going to pull that one out, probably by just a percent or two. But if he pulls that out, he's going to be a very serious presidential candidate possibly in 2016.
So that would be a really close race to keep an eye on.
It's going to be a really close race to keep an eye on. The two races early in the evening to keep a watch on are New Hampshire and North Carolina. If the Republicans do well there, then they will probably be a good night for the Republicans as well.
So kind of away from the data, I guess, but how would that have a negative or positive impact as far as, the Senate and everything goes if Republicans carry on with the momentum they've got and they win and get the majority? I mean, how will that affect everything?
What that will do, of course, Obama's not a popular president. When Bush faced up against a very challenging midterm, he lost the Senate and the House in 2006 and made him a lame duck, and he wasn't able to achieve a whole lot. That same thing would happen to Obama if he loses. Now he's got the House lost already, and we're expecting the House to stay in Republican hands from what we're seeing. But if he loses the Senate, he's going to have a hard time. He's going to have to move to the executive orders to try to achieve what he's trying to achieve.
So what would be a couple of the states, besides the ones that you said, to watch for the really close races?
Kansas will be a close race for Senate and for governor. They've got some very tight races. They're Republicans holding on. That's one of the very few Republican states that's in jeopardy. But Roberts may hold on that one. Kansas will be one to watch. Florida will be one to watch. There's a very challenging governor's race there for the incumbent Republican. All these states, of course, Wisconsin and Florida, some of those kind of states, Virginia, we're watching possibly a close Senate race coming up, and those are all important presidential states.
I've heard rumors about some comments made in Louisiana. You think you could expand on those a little bit and how they might affect, just briefly?
Yeah, Mary Landrieu late last week made a comment. If she would have stayed just talking about the president's policies not being popular in a conservative state like Louisiana, she would have been fine. But then she went on to kind of bash her citizens by bringing in the race card and the gender card as well, by saying that the state's not very hospitable to African Americans and not hospitable to women. So in that case, she's really made some comments that are very controversial. That could put the North Carolina seat further in play, and there are several other seats too that she might have put in jeopardy from making that statement.
That's all I've got for you today.
We appreciate that, and we got Tyler coming up here in just a moment on the amendments. Be sure to be tuning into our radio show. As we said, we'll have that link posted. Be sure to turn into that radio show on a Tuesday night. We'll start coverage at 6 o'clock we'll be covering the state issues here in Tennessee, but also we'll be discussing a lot of the national picture as well.